Thank you. Appreciate those comments. I hope those were valuable to everyone. Some quick pieces of advice. And we've got a few more minutes, so I'd just like to turn the questions over to the audience. If anybody here has any questions for the panel.
I've got a question for Lou.
See? I built you up, Lou.
If using the door methodology, if we look on the other side of that, other countries, and distributors and partners and so forth, how do they view Utah? Without a seaport, we're pretty isolated. We're not known to be a global trade center here. What is the 70% purchasing power outside of our country? How do they view Utah, and why would I want to do business with medium-sized companies in this little state?
Tim, good question. Utah has, just as a quick example, Ambassador Huntsman. Lots of Chinese folks come to him and say, I want to invest in Utah, I want to invest in America. And Ambassador Huntsman say, well, you know where Los Angeles is, you can find New York. Try a second-tier city, because there are a lot of, China has 200 cities with 1 million people or more. And for them to come here, we're pretty attractive for them. We're known as an Olympic city, which is helpful, particularly in China as an example. Brazil wants to come here and learn a little bit more about how to put Olympics on. We have a reputation as being a clean, well-run. You know, Forbes picked us the #1 best place to do business in America. People overseas read that. I was in China 2 weeks ago. People there knew what Forbes had said about Utah. It didn't hurt that Ambassador Huntsman had said that in several locales as well. We are also viewed as a multicultural area. The fact is, we have the highest percentage of people who speak 2 languages than any other state. We had a call the other day. Pharmaceutical company was coming from Japan. 24 hours notice. They said, we want to come talk to you. These people have never been here. We made 3 calls and got 4 or 5 people, not native speakers, but Japanese second language speakers, pharmaceutical area. They had no idea. The #1 question I always ask people, what do you know about Utah when they come internationally? And in the olden days, it was Grand Canyon, pretty close, close to Las Vegas. They had Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Now it's Huntsman Medical Center. They know about the cancer. I mean, that's worldwide. That's well renowned. But in China, the #1 thing is Utah Jazz. And the person in China who's in charge of all legal for the NBA is a Utah guy. And the man putting in the 200 stores for the NBA to sell NBA equipment in a fast-growing market is also from Utah. So it's exciting to see Utah on that map, whether it's Olympics, well-managed, nice people. I mean, BYU's performing groups have been going there for 35 years. So we have, China's just one example, but Brazilians, we have 31, 32 honorary consuls here in the state, and they are also big cheerleaders for this state with their native lands. From Brazil on down.
I could add one thing to that as well. You mentioned that we don't have a seaport. What a lot of people don't know is we have a very good rail hub out in the West Desert. So when you're shipping ocean containers in or out of Salt Lake, the cost to ship it from here is virtually the same as the cost to send it from the West Coast. So even imports coming in, they take that ocean container right off, they put it on a rail hub, it comes right here to the West Desert in Salt Lake, and they've got, I think, 8 cranes there. So the transportation time is the same. What you're actually seeing now is a lot of the companies importing and exporting stuff, rather than store it, even Walmart and Costco and some of these other things, rather than store it on the West Coast where storage space is high, they'll use that multimodal transportation hub rail and store it in Utah where the storage space is cheaper, and then feed their West Coast hubs back from there, even though the product is being imported from China, for example. So from a transportation standpoint, we've got a very good rail hub, even though we're landlocked, and then you've got a very good, you can get anything out of Utah within 24 hours, anything west of the Mississippi by truck as well, because all the major freeways, if you look at the map, come right through Salt Lake.
It is the crossroads of the West for rail travel. And an international airport, we have non-stop flights to Europe and to Asia. And Kim at the EDC Utah, she has great information about all this. EDC Utah, we haven't given them enough credit, but this is our public-private partnership that makes Utah attractive to national and international firms that are looking to relocate here. And I can't say enough, Jeff Edwards and Kim and all, it's a great partnership with those folks as well.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you. Oh, here it is. We have, there we go.
Does that work?
Yes, go ahead.
When I was in Germany, we had the equipment, the material records officer battalion. We had companies, two German companies and two U.S. companies. We had equipment that was coming from France, United Kingdom, Germany, United States. One of the things that you have to remember, I mean, it seems like it's almost inherent, is to make the instructions on whatever you have simple. We had a lot of U.S. personnel that destroyed Mercedes vehicles, as an example, until German soldiers told me that the transmission did not operate if you towed it. In other words, there's no oil in the transmission.
Yeah.
And so some of these things, just try to make your instructions and translations, depends upon the complexity of what you're doing. But know that just regular people who usually don't read instructions are going to be using this equipment.
Give Bill Gates a call now. would you? Thanks.
Any other additional questions or comments from the audience?
We're certainly welcome to visit afterwards, and the
absolutely.
food has been untouched, which is unusual in this group. But take something for lunchtime. And as I said, we have validations here on the way out with Ms. Barney Larson. We really do appreciate Multilink sponsoring this. This has been fabulous.
We appreciate everybody's support here, and I think what I take out of this more than anything is there are certainly some steps that are involved in terms of going internationally, but based on some of the numbers and some of the things we've seen here, there's no question it can be profitable and increase your business growth and revenue. So if everybody could just join me in giving a hand of applause to the panel, I'd appreciate that.